Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hey kiddos, so this is going to be a little chaotic, but you love me anyway. I realized that I didn't do a Q&A for my anniversary this year, which is always mid-April is my booktube anniversary. It was 6 years this year. And I also just haven't done a Q&A in ages to begin with. So I threw it up there the other day and just asked if anyone had questions. And I was like, well, if not enough people have questions, we won't worry about it. And sure enough, I got a whole bunch of questions. So we're going to start with my Patreon questions. And then I have some that are from YouTube posts. And then I also put up an anonymous form so people could ask if they had anything that was like secretive to ask me or whatever. So I have my energy drink. I have some snacks in my cute little Stitch bowl. And so we're going to go through these and answer them. All right. Starting with the Patreon questions, we have, what is the favorite book cover of the year so far? And your favorite book cover of all time? So this is funny. I didn't realize that I had a couple of those ones the same because I grabbed a few. My favorite book cover this year. So I think that these were I did the mid-year check-in tag that had some of these questions. Let's go with Pam Godwin's series. Yeah, let's go with that one. I think that was super unique. Hills of Shivers and Shadows. What's your favorite of all time? I will save that one because should I do that question now? So Danielle asked those two. And in one of my other question boxes, someone asked me what are my top 5 favorite covers. So let's do that because I actually have 6 book covers that I grabbed. Because I had picked 5 and then I forgot about one, so I grabbed 2 more. So let's do that. But anyway, that answer sticks true. My favorite one so far this year is Hills of Shivers and Shadows. And then I have my top 6 book covers of all time. These ones are not in a particular order though, because I change my mind all the time. That's too difficult. But one of my books that was a unicorn book for me to get is actually Tempt by Melanie Harlow. This is the one that I've shared before. This was a very special find. I got it for only $60 when I've been hunting for it. And this is one of my favorite covers. I just love it. It means so much to me. I love this book so much. And I just love the plus size heroine on it. And yet it's still very sexy. And I love this. Like, I just love it. Then I recently just got my God of Fury one. Now, this isn't the hottest part of it, okay? I will switch it out. I love this. I love this. I think it's so cool looking. I love the beautiful, like, Bran and Nico moments on here. I love just everything about this couple. So I really love this cover, even though I'm not normally one of these. And I love the lotus flower on his chest. Like, I don't know. I just really love this couple so much. So I picked that one. Then I had to share it was really hard to pick which one, and this is my favorite, but I adore the hardcovers that Juliet had done for her Kickstarter. I love these so much, and I think that Grim and Bear is my favorite one. I love the book and the magic coming out of the book. I love the butterfly detail and the smoke. I just love it. I love this series so dearly. I'm actually like super bummed that Fake Crate is doing these, and there's no way in hell that I can afford those. But there's something about these ones that Juliet had done that I love. I mean, of course, I could change my mind depending when I see what they do, but she put so much thought and time into these ones, and the artist who did these, I just love it so much. Also, I had to pick Bound by Tiffany Robert. I looked at my special editions of this series, and while I adore them, there's something about this cover, which this was done by Sam Griffin, and I just love this. It's so intimate. It's so beautiful. I love Katana and Ivy, and I love that one. Then it was very difficult to pick which special edition of Pam Godwin I would share because I love all of hers. But I did pick the one from Crates for Days because I love Priest and Ashley on this cover. I love Bennett. I love this. I even love this naked cover so much. I love the waves and the compass rose. It's beautiful. This is my favorite Sea of Ruin that I have. I love the details on this. It has like all the things on it that mean stuff to the book. So this one's very special. And then a very recent edition, this was gifted to me, and honestly I'm just so humbled that this was sent to me. And this is the special edition of Brutal Prince that Sophie had done for Book Bonanza. And I love it. And this actually leads into another question that was, who is your favorite artist and why? And I have two as an answer for that. One of my favorite artists is, of course, Lena. Lena was first a viewer of my channel, and she discovered Sophie Lark through my videos, and now she is the official illustrator for Sophie Lark. And I just love that. Not only that I got to play a teeny tiny little part in these two connecting with each other, but also I just think she's so talented. I love all of the art that she's done, and I just love what life it brings to the books. And having this one with her images in color is just so beautiful. Another artist I love, I do love Sam Griffin. I love how intimate and beautiful she can make monster romance covers look. She's done quite a few, and I just think they're fantastic. And then I lied, there is someone else. My big sis, Crystal, she does tumble creatures. She also was a watercolor portrait artist. She did, she's done so much art through her life, and she's just so talented, and I consider myself very lucky to have so many talented friends in my life. Also, one more, I'm so sorry. My best friend went to art school and actually has her own business as an artist. Let me move this up. And she painted that lovely Outlander landscape for me. Sarah Mendez is her name. She is now an art teacher, so she doesn't do as many commissions as she did, but when she finished school, I begged and begged to commission that from her. And she was only an artist out on her own for a little while before she wanted, of course, a bit more stable of a job, for other reasons that aren't mine to share. But I adore that art piece, and I look at it every single day, and I'm so happy to have it. So there are a lot of artists that I love. So there you go. There also was, what's your favorite flower that you wish to have it at home all the time, and which color, if it has many colors? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't actually have like a favorite flower. I don't actually. I mean, I like irises and orchids. And I love flowers that are deep jewel tones. So I like dark purples and magentas and dark blues. Those are my favorite colors, and whatever flower is in those colors is fine. I really don't have a favorite flower. I just love flowers. But irises and orchids are ones that I always stop to smell the flower, if you know what I mean. Okay, fictional universe you wouldn't mind living in is from Helen. I don't know, man. This is always a tricky one. But how about we just say the world of Stay a Spell, which is really close to being this world, you know? Character whose powers you'd like to have. I mean, I like Feyre's powers quite a bit. I do. I think, especially as her powers manifest, I mean, she has some powers of kind of everything. She can fly. She has a shadow power. She can heal a little bit. She's a curse breaker. I like these things. What series that is endlessly rereadable? It's so funny. I just talked about this in my weekly wrap-up the last week. My favorite series to reread is The Illuminae Files. I actually just reread this book with my sister on a road trip. We listened to it. I could immediately re-listen to it, this one. I love that series so much. What are you most thankful for and what are you most afraid of? Oh man. I mean, I say it in almost every video. I'm most thankful that people care about my opinions about books, and that there are people actually willing to put their hard-earned money into helping me succeed and helping me eat and helping me keep the lights on. Like, that's crazy to me. But I mean, I'm also very thankful for my family. I mean, who would I be without them? I got so lucky. So it's a mix between those things of I'm humbled by my job every day. Like, that I wake up and I'm like, which books do I want to read today? Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, come on. Who gets to do that? What are you most afraid of? Well, let's go a bit more like big out there, because there are lots of little things you fear. You know, I fear losing friends too soon. I fear crushing debt, of things like that, which are just a little bit too real and could really happen. But some of my biggest like phobias, right, kind of irrational fear. It's funny because after just rereading this, both me and my sister, like, space freaks me out. Just pure silence and blackness and darkness, like, that's terrifying. Also, being put in a mental institution. I've talked about that many times. It's why that's a huge trigger for me. I don't know why. No one in my family has had that happen. No one has. There's just something terrifying of, like, someone thinking you're crazy and everyone else agreeing with it and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I don't know, that just sends chills down my spine. Like, I do not compute. I can't handle it. Like, it terrifies me. And then also being buried alive. That's the other one. Yep. Those are ones that are kind of my biggest fears. So a little bit more existential, not existential is the wrong word, but a little more like out there, things that probably aren't really going to happen, but those are things that I fear. So those are the Patreon questions. There was just a few of those. Now let's go to the YouTube post. And one of those questions was the first one. This one was from Cannonball Girl, who asked my top 5 physical books. And we looked at those. What is the most positive or encouraging thing that's happened to you as a result of this channel? I mean, hands down, it's been when I've got to meet people, both when I have been so blessed as to meet one of you guys in real life, which has not happened a lot. It's usually been when I've went to a book signing or something like that. Absolutely. Also being able to do this full time. How? The fact that, you know, after stumbling through these jobs where I'm just not finding my place to be, that I was able to just say, fuck it, let's give this a go. And you guys caught me and didn't let me fall down on my face. That is so encouraging, and I just feel so lucky. And then also, as I said, like, people I've got to meet, the fact that I got to go meet Crystal in person, stay at her home, be hugged by her and loved by her. I won't lie, like, that's a true and lasting friendship I'm going to have the rest of my life. And it happened because I started a booktube channel 6 years ago. So if you watch this, big sis, you're one of the most important people in my life, and I'm so thankful to have you. She's not the only person I met because of this, but when I look at, if I had to lose like all other relationships, if I stopped my channel tomorrow, who would I still talk to? And there's a handful of people, but she's number one that I would still talk to every day. And then again, there's like 5 people that if we weren't seeing each other's videos and talking on Instagram every day, we would still talk to each other. You know what I mean? Because there's the people that you are friends with and I have no animosity towards. We've gotten along the whole time, but you also would easily forget them if you weren't reminded of them. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And then there's the people that you'll think about them once in a while and be like, oh man, I need to check in, and you'll send them a message. And then there's the people that you read a book or you think about a thing and you see a movie and they're the person you want to talk to. And YouTube has given me some of those relationships, you know. My friend Joe, we've been friends for almost 6 years now, you know, almost since the beginning. Like, these are people that, while I have not been able to meet everyone in person that I want to, they're the people that I would drive across the country for, or fly across the country for, or to other countries for, just to see a person, you know. So anyway, that went kind of deep, but that I consider one of the most positive and privileged things that's happened to me is to meet people that I never would have connected with. I never would have talked with or interacted with or gotten to know them if it wasn't for my channel. And so if everything else were a wash and, you know, nobody cared to watch a video again, I would consider it a win because of the people I've met. So yeah, I'm just so lucky. Do you watch K-dramas or other romance TV or Max and Hall? I do not, my friend. I have not watched any K-dramas. I don't watch any romance TV, and I haven't watched Max and Hall, though I have seen some of the edits. I've seen some fun stuff that almost has me convinced, but I just don't watch a lot of TV. We'll get back around to that. There's some questions about TV later. Okay, what are some tropes that you have not read? Well, Taylor, I'm not sure. I'm not sure which ones I haven't read, because the ones that I don't like them because I've read them. So honestly, I don't know which tropes I haven't read because I haven't read them yet. I know that's a weird way to answer, but like, I don't know. I don't know which tropes that I have not read. Do you still do any writing, you know, since you have so much free time? I think Katie asked that. I do not do any writing, and I don't really foresee that I will anytime in the future. The only thing I write is my reviews. That's about it. I write my book reviews. That's about as far as I go. What is the most smutty book according to you? Well, that's very difficult to just pinpoint. Also, I mean, the most smutty ones to me are like their erotica or erotic romance. Some that I can think of off the top of my head that I consider, you know, lots of sex, so they're 5 chili pepper, but still, I would still recommend the book. Let's go with that. So, Daisy Jane is one of the smuttiest authors I've read. And I say that with complete affection. It is a good time when I read one of hers. She makes kink really fun, sweet stories. One that I have talked about a lot lately is All My Love. That book is wild. It is erotic, but it still has a very sweet romance built in. And pretty much everything I've read from Daisy Jane is a 4 or 5 on the chili pepper and still very sweet. And I just it's so hard to put those two together, but she can have pegging in her book, or have like, what's the one, lactation kink, and it's still this sweet romance at the same time. So definitely Daisy Jane. All My Love is one that sticks out to me. And then also The Pleasure Protocol by Darcy Romaine and Kat Alexander, because that one was originally written for Kindle Vella, and so that means it was like episodic when I started. There's pretty much sex in like every chapter, but I still loved the progression of their relationship through it. So those are 2 that I would say are some of the most smutty that I've read, but I still really liked it. Okay, that's where I would go for that one. Okay, those were the ones on the post. Now I have some that were on the anonymous post. So some of these are a bit more involved, and I took some notes on some of them. Here we go. Do you ever get annoyed by people messaging you about reading arcs? And also, have you ever had a situation where you agree to one and then completely forget about it until the author sent it to you? That is a great question. And I know a lot of authors do watch my channel. Some of my viewers have become authors through the years. And I want to encourage you that I am always open to receiving your message. I've been contacted through email. That's a great way to do it. On my Instagram, I have been contacted through my Discord. That's actually a good way to do it, honestly. And I am never annoyed or upset by it. Absolutely not. I consider it still to this day one of the greatest honors that someone wants to share their story with me. even when it can feel just like a plug and play situation, even when it feels like a canned email where you're trying to cold solicit lots of people, I'm always honored that someone wants me to read their story. What I get slightly annoyed with, here we go, we'll break it down. What I get slightly annoyed with is non-romance people who reach out to me, which that usually happens through email. As I said, that's usually cold soliciting. It's usually not even the author themselves. It's like their PR person is looking up as many emails as they can find and they're sending them. And they're sending me like YA sci-fi, or I've been sent inspirational novels, or I was sent biographies. And I generally don't even respond to those because A, it's very clear that they're a canned email, that they're just trying to catch anyone. And number two, like, why would I take those books when I don't review that? Like, it would be a waste of your money to send it to me, you know? So I get a little annoyed when it's clear nobody watched a video of mine, or maybe they watched one where I reviewed a nonfiction from 5 years ago. Because yes, on my channel, I do still have some reviews from 6 years ago where I read non-romance books, but it's like, read the room. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be sending someone a physical copy, which does cost money, that's why I said I'm very honored when anyone wants to send me a copy. But like, you're wasting your money if you want to send me a physical copy of a biography. Like, I'm just not going to read that. I'm not interested. No, your book isn't the one book that's going to change my mind about wanting to read that. Like, I'm not interested. I've read like one nonfiction book a year for the last like 4 years, you know? Like, I'm just not, I'm not interested. Why would I take your book to do that? So I am not annoyed when people message me about it. I'm annoyed when it's clear they didn't do any research before doing it, right? Because a lot of times when I get a little pitch, whether it's in my Instagram DMs or in an email, they're like, hey, I watch your channel. I know that you like books by Sarah Kate. Here's a book like that I'm going to read. And then I'm like, ooh, okay. I can tell you you watched even one video that I've made. I would love to check it out. Now, I am going to say no to some, especially now that I am drowning in ARCs. And I do love that. I know I bitch about it a little bit, but I'm not annoyed by that. Most of them I have signed up for myself. And so I know what I'm getting into. And I'm so excited by them. So yeah, I'm never annoyed by it when it is the actual author reaching out and they know that I read romance and smutty romance, and that's why they want me, right? I love that, and I want to give your book a chance. I also need people to not be hurt if I don't get to it. Like, that is something I say now when someone wants to send me a physical book, is I tell them I promise to share when I get it, but I don't promise to read it because I just can't promise to read it. But if you want to send it and you know that I will put it in an Instagram story when I get it, and I will share it in a book haul, that's all I can promise you, because I'm not being paid to do it. I'm not expecting them to pay me to, because I'm not going to be paid for a review, but like, they're not paying for a spot in a video. So like, I just can't promise to read it because I'm not going to be paid for a review, and I'm not going to do that anyway. But if you want to send me your book because you just want people to know about it, and there's the chance that I will read it, please send it my way. Absolutely. But as for like e-arcs these days, I say no to a lot because I already ask for so many that I want to read. I don't want to take on ones that I haven't even vetted first, you know? Anyway, I'm rambling about this. We have so many questions to get to. So, not annoyed when people reach out as long as they've done their research first. If you know that I review romance only and that I usually like sex to be in it, we're going to be good. I'm interested. Number two, though, have you ever forgotten? Absolutely. And that is why in the last, I think it was just 3 months ago, I started a spreadsheet. I started an ARC spreadsheet where anytime I'm reached out to by a PR company, an author, a publisher, and they're like, we're going to send you this, it gets put in my spreadsheet so that I know who sent it. Because sometimes they'll tell you they sent it and then they don't put a note in the box or anything. And sometimes I have I don't remember who sent it or what the hell is going on. And that's very confusing for me. So nowadays, I very rarely miss one. I've missed like one in the last 4 months because I keep track of it. But I had to start that because I was reading upwards of 15 to 25 arcs a month between ones that people are sending me and ones that I've signed up for, and I had to keep track of it. So I started an arc spreadsheet, and since then, I haven't missed one. All right, we got to keep going. Would you ever beta read, or are you happy sticking to arcs? So I am not really comfortable beta reading. Now, I have only beta read for one person. That's Madison Fox. She is a friend / like colleague for on BookTube and Bookstagram, and I will continue to beta for her. Does she want me to? But other than that, I'm not really comfortable with beta reading just because I don't really love giving critiques on people's stories to them. It makes me uncomfortable. I like reviewing a story when it's already done. Obviously, I'll give my opinions on those, but I don't like having to pick apart the story in that way. Like, I just don't do well with that. So with Madison, it's been really fun because I've been able to read her book, and then we have a video call, and she'll kind of ask the parts she wants me to pick apart. And I'm not expected to kind of know the whole picture in my head and to give notes on, but I certainly wouldn't really want to take on any more. So I do stick with arcs. I'm not really interested in signing up to be a beta read for anyone else besides her. And she's the only one I've beta read for and the only one I plan to. And then, are you happy sticking with arcs? Yes, I'm happy sticking with arcs. Are you excited for any releases in July and August? I sure am. In fact, I just made a video not too long about that. That's all the books this summer I was excited for that had June, July, and August in it. But I picked, I think, 5 to just tell you real quickly so that you don't have to leave this video to go see. I'm excited in July for Play Along by Liz Tom Ford and Between Fear and Favor. Then, I don't know when this one is coming, but I'll say it again, The Sweetheart Deal by Sophie Lark. I think that should be July or August. I'm excited for it. Then in August, The Heartbreaker by Sarah Kate and Heart of Frost and Scars by Pam Godwin. Those are like the top 5 ones I'm very much looking forward to. So we shall see when those come. Are there any up-and-coming authors we should keep an eye on? I also recently made a video of all the new to me authors that I recommend, and authors who their books have less than 500 ratings on Goodreads. So those are some videos to check out. I just picked 3 that are newer authors. Bailey Hannah, I've really been liking her Wells Ranch series, and this is only the 3rd one that's coming up soon. Angel Anders only has 1 book out so far. It was a like taboo priest romance, and I thought she handled it so well. So I'm very excited for the next one in that series. And then Anne Einerson, she has about 4 or 5 books out, but I think she's really finding her stride with her small town romance series, and I'm loving it so much. So she's someone I really think you should jump on. Her books are fun and snappy and sweet and spicy, so definitely check those out. Do I have any Dracula romance recs? I do not. Really, the only vampire recs that I could think of off the cuff is, of course, Lothair by Cressley Cole. Absolutely love. And then the ones by Juliet Cross. So Don't Hex and Drive and Resting Witch Face both have vampires in them, and I like that. But I honestly haven't read too many vampires lately. I definitely would. In fact, there's one I signed up for recently for an arc that will have vampires in it. So I'll get back to you with that one. Do you think you'll make more videos about Outlander once the TV show returns? Absolutely. I know that it goes quite a bit between when I make Outlander videos. That's because I only make videos when the TV show is coming out. I make those entirely for me. My Outlander videos do not do a third as well as my other stuff, but I've been making Outlander videos for 5 years now, and I always will. So every episode of Outlander that comes out from here to now, I will talk about, and I have talked about the last 3 seasons episode by episode, and the 3 seasons before that I talked about the seasons as a whole. So I have a whole Outlander playlist. Every video I've made about Outlander is on it. And yes, I will continue to review the episodes because that is something I do still just for me, even though it doesn't pay the bills or bring in the big bucks anymore. I will continue to make those videos. How do your parents feel about your YouTube success? They're supportive. My dad tells any women he knows that read about me. He used to, I tell the story, when I was trying to get monetized, he would play my videos without sound because I was, I wasn't fully talking about romance back then. So he used to play my vlogs so that he could just listen to me talk. My dad's so sweet. When I had, when he was missing me, he would play my videos. Now that I talk mostly about naughty things, he doesn't really pop into them anymore, but he still will watch some of my old vlogs, which I love. But yeah, he tells all the women that he meets, like through his work, about me if they read books or whatever. So very supportive. My mom, she is one of the people who got me into reading, but she is so not a technical person at all. But she does watch my videos now and then to get book recommendations, which we don't talk about, but they're very supportive. What are some of your goals outside of YouTube? I gotta tell you, really one of the only ones is to get out of debt. And I mean, of course, YouTube is tied in with that. Like, honestly, if I could have a video get super big and it could start helping chip away at some debt, that would just be, that's honestly the biggest stressor in my life without having a 9-to-5 that's really bringing in, like, because YouTube used to be my bonus money and I was using that for student loans. I was using it for my book money. And now that it's had to become my full income, pretty much paying off debt has kind of ended. So one of my personal goals is to get out of debt, but also to stay healthy. If you've been around a while, you've seen a lot of my health journey happen here. And that is something that I continue to be working on as I eat my Cheetos. All right. How much does a viewer's comment really help me? Especially if it's just an emoji. That is a great question, right? I always hear viewers say that. So here's the technical definition, and then I'll break it down for you, okay? So engaged viewers are more likely to subscribe, like your videos, and share your content. A healthy comment section also signals activity to YouTube's algorithm, potentially boosting your search ranking and discoverability, okay? So what's that mean? In general, it means that the better connection you have with me, the further into the video you're watching, you're more likely to decide, I like what this girl has to say. I'm going to subscribe to the channel and I'll be back, which has the potential to give you a regular viewer, right? If you're now showing up in the subscription feed, people have a better chance of continuing to watch you and adding to your views. Now, the reason why we ask you to comment is, like they said, the algorithm, if they see a video is getting a lot of activity within a certain niche, they're more likely to start putting you forward, right? And that's why when you type in Mafia Romance Recs, you're going to get my video, Jess from Peace Love Books. There's a couple others who show up as well because those videos of ours have tons of comments and tons of likes on them. So when a viewer who's never looked up a Mafia romance book before wants to find the best recommendations, Google and YouTube, right, is going to put those videos up top, which then can give you more. So it is important to comment, to like, even if you just do the emoji, because it's not about what the comment says. That's why an emoji is helpful, right? Why we say, even if you don't have any comments, leave an emoji, because to YouTube, that's still a comment. It's still a comment, even if you're not engaging in questions or whatever. It's still activity on the video, right? Just like on Instagram, like engagement makes you look better to advertisers, makes you look better to YouTube, which when all of those things come together, that's how you can get a viral video or things like that, right? So that is Jenn's layman terms of it. That is why me and every other creator will say, help us out with the algorithm, like this video and subscribe and comment, because you're all just trying to get YouTube to recommend you to more people, right? Because even people who are subscribed, right? If there's a video of mine that's not doing as well as some of the others, you notice how you'll miss some videos sometimes, right? So anyway, that's why we always encourage it. You know, now could be the perfect time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave me an emoji down below, because it gives the video, it shows YouTube that, oh, this one's doing better than a lot of our other ones. This one's going to get people to stay, because that's what YouTube wants, is they want more people to stay on your video and watch more ads that they're getting paid for, right? So if there's a video of yours that's really keeping people watching for longer and keeping people engaged, then they know that they can feed more ads to you. I mean, it's just true. That's how it is. That's how we get paid, is off of the ad money, you know? Okay, what's another TV couple you'd read fanfic about outside of Harry Potter? I've said this before. I'm not really interested in fics outside of Harry Potter. Like, the reason I go to fanfics is I want to get lost in like the wizarding world and get lost in characters who are very comfortable to me. I don't have to play like a game of figuring out the world. Like, the world exists already in my head. It's there. And these characters also exist in my head, and I just get to play with them, you know? But I have read some Beth and Rip. I would love more of those. I should check again and see if there have been some new ones. I would read some like Bones fanfic, maybe. But in general, I'm just not that interested. I'm not. We will have another fanfic readathon coming up soon. I don't actually know quite when I'm going to do it. I'm a little bit burned out from the 2 readathons I did already this year. They're a lot of work, y'all. They are. And yeah, the fanfic readathon is when I generally try to read other things. But I just don't. I want to read Harry Potter fanfics. That's what I want. So fanfic is a complete joy for me. You know, that's what I'm going to read when I go to it, you know? Okay, on average, how many views do you get a month? Okay, so I went and looked this up for you. I average about 100K views a month. And in the last year, I've had 1.2 million views. Now, as a whole, in the 6 years that I've had my channel, I have just over 4 million views. So you can tell the last year, I've had 1/4 of my traffic has been in the last year. So I'm hoping that just continues to move upward. But yep, I average about 100K views per month. Definitely still very much a small fry, you know, for sure. TV shows that you watch. All right, I watch Outlander, Yellowstone, also the spin-offs of Yellowstone. 1923 was one of my favorite recent shows. I watch the throwback shows, Forensic Files. I love a good criminal takedown. And Little House on the Prairie. Those are some of my favorite shows. That's what I watch if I'm watching a fake show. Because that brings us to, how do you spend your free time besides reading? Someone always wants to ask that. And I won't be snotty this time, but I gotta tell you, I don't really do much else than read. That's why I read 40 to 50 books every month, is because I always have a book going. But I have taken up cross-stitching and sewing, although again, I usually can read while I do those things. I do hang out with my friends once in a while. We play some games. And I do like to watch true crime. So yeah. I enjoy Crime Weekly. I enjoy 10 to Life with Annie Elise. I enjoy the Mile Hires Club. I love watching, who else is some of the crime ones? The Casual Criminalist. Those are all shows that I'll put on while I'm reading or while I'm doing things. They both have a podcast form, like, and a visual format. So those are like my shows, basically. I'm just telling you. But yeah, outside of reading, there's not too much, you know? Okay, someone asked, were you afraid of putting yourself out there on social media, particularly worried about judgment from people in your real life? If so, how did you overcome that fear? I'd love to start a book talk account, but I'm too scared. Lots of love. All right. So this is tough to break down, but I'll explain it this way. So when I started a channel 6 years ago, I just wanted to talk about books with people. All right. I have friends that read very, very little. Even fewer who actually read romance, and the ones that do live really far away, and we can't talk every day. And again, I wasn't only reading romance when I started this channel, but it's still what I love the most. So I wanted friends who'd read that. And there was a few channels I had come across. I share this all the time. Murphy Napier was one of the creators who, at the time, her videos were what I wanted, because she would do these deep dives. She would have a spoiler section to her videos. So many booktubers will not talk about the spoilers of a book, whether it's romance or otherwise. And I'm like, I want to talk about the details with people. I don't want to be spoiler free. And she had done, I know the video exactly. She had done a like spoiler free and spoiler review of the Leigh Bardugo, wow, I just forgot it. The Leigh Bardugo trilogy. Siege and Storm and Shadow and Bone. There we go. I was getting to it. And she had talked non-spoilers, and then she had a spoiler section. And I was so engaged. I was enraptured with it. She didn't have anything fancy. It was just her on a little stool in front of her bookshelf. You know, she had good lighting. I mean, my lighting has never really been that fantastic or anything. But she was just talking to the camera about the book. And she would go into the details. And I was like, I want to do that. And so... yep, I started. I barely even had a tripod. I filmed stuff holding my phone sometimes. And I filmed a few like individual book reviews. I have done those through the years, but very quickly I realized that I wanted to do recommendation videos. And then I will say this again, Peace Love Books was one of the first romance focused channels I ever found. And she had a historical rec video, and it was like only one of 2 videos at the time. There was hers, and I believe Bethany, Beautifully Bookish Bethany, had one, but there was very few. And I watched at that time all of Jess's videos that she had out where she would do her recommendation videos, and I loved it. The only thing I was noticing is very quickly I had read like all the ones she was suggesting, and I needed more recommendations, and I couldn't find people to recommend them. And so that was happening the same time that I had started making my channel, and I just loved interacting on her videos, and I loved seeing, you know, which dark romances she was reading. She had dark recommendation videos. So I still give so much credit to Jess for, she made some of the first videos that had romance as a main topic. I didn't just have to slip those books into something else. And so anyway, where am I going with this? So when I started, I wasn't worried about judgment at all. And I always say this to you, I don't know how it would go on TikTok because I never started a book talk without already having other platforms that people would find me. And I quickly shied away from book talk because I don't like the quick format. I don't like filming in this mode. Like, I just don't care for it. I like this. I mean, look at the video you're watching. We're over 40 minutes already. But when you start, whatever you're going to start, no one's going to be watching. And I don't mean that to like discourage you. I mean, the only people watching will be either people who stumble across your video, people that you tell to check it out. So if you don't want to tell your family members about it, you don't have to. I doubt they'll find you unless you tell them to look for you, you know? The only family members of mine who know it exists are because I told them where it was. They weren't going to stumble across the Book Refuge on their own. Also, not naming your channel your full name. Like, most people know what my full name is now because it's out there. It's not impossible to find. But if you pick a channel that's not your name, that's another way. And if you don't put your full name in your description at all, no one's going to be able to look you up and know that it's you. So when I started it, I was getting 5 views or less on a video. And so I did not have great quality for a long time, but I was just out there, like, and the comments you get are just gold when you start. So anyway, we still have questions to get through. But the thing is, yes, I was afraid of putting myself out there. I was afraid I would look dumb, but people in my life, I didn't tell them right away. I didn't point them towards my videos right away. And again, I didn't start by talking about romance. So when people did find it, it was like I had reviews for YA books and fantasy books and some romance. So I didn't feel bad or weird about sharing it because I was like, I'm reviewing books. And most of them were very proud of me. And they were really cringy. So you have people watch it who are like, you know, oh, wow, look, she's doing it, you know, and but 6 years later, here we are. What I will say as well, I always say this, I am naturally an extrovert. I am naturally like kind of a smooth talker for the most part. So I did have a leg up in that aspect, if you want to say it. Like, I'm already an extrovert. I love to talk. Staring at myself doesn't bother me. Like, because I am in my phone staring at myself all the time and I have to edit myself, so I have to look at myself. And so those things do give you a leg up, whereas some people do have crippling insecurity, or they don't speak well, or they have an accent and they're worried if people will understand them. Like, those, I'm not saying those fears aren't, you know, they're absolutely valid, and you have to decide if you're willing to try it and get by that. Like, I can't decide that for you. So, So yeah, I didn't really have a fear is the thing that I'm saying. I mostly was just like, oh, this is bad quality. How can I make it better and do those things? And once you post a video and you realize that like no one's watching it, it became a thing of like, I kept practicing and trying and editing better and adding graphics in and doing that because it was just a playground for me. Again, hardly anyone was watching it. I had 5 subscribers to my channel. And so just know that. Just know when you start, no one's going to be watching. And don't take that hard right away. You know, like don't take that as like you're a failure. Take it as it's a time to perfect what you're doing. And be consistent. Talk about stuff you love. Find the right pace for you so you're not burnt out, and then just keep doing it. I have put up 3 to 4 videos a week for 6 years. Like clockwork, they go up. People know they can count on me. It's going to be there. Like, but that doesn't happen right away. So whether you're posting once a month, once a week, 2 times a week, you know, the second Tuesday of every month, like find that for you and stick with it. Okay? All right. I could say so much more about it. If you could read a book series again for the first time, which one would you pick? So I picked Outlander. I would love to read Outlander for the first time again. But what I said about everything else is I was like, I think that the series that I love so much, I love them because I read them at the time I read them. And maybe if I read them for the first time now, I wouldn't love them the same. You know, I was thinking that about ACOTAR. I was like, would I still love this the same if I tried it now? Because, you know, I tried to read Throne of Glass like 3 or 4 times and it just wasn't clicking for me, you know? So I'm like, what if I tried it now and it didn't work? So I would say Outlander. I would love to read that for the first time again. That would be amazing. But everything else, honestly, I think I read it at the time I was supposed to read it if I loved it, you know? What is a book you love that doesn't get enough credit? Okay, I did grab a couple to show this. I actually went, there's obviously more than one. I say Minerva Spencer, aka SM La Violette. I always will for my historical romance girlies. She is so underappreciated. She has both erotic Victorian, but she also just has really great historical romance. Okay, I know this cover, they're hideous, but I love this series. This was one that was her traditionally done stuff with Zebra. Love this one. She just, I will always keep talking about her. Also, another historical author actually is Tanya Fisher. She only has 2 books out so far. They're both kind of like Western historicals, but they were both deeply emotional and I love them so much. So this one is Poppies and Silk. There's also Letters to Dogwood is the first book, and book 3 is coming, is like it's sunflower, a trail of sunflowers, I think. But I love her. I think her books are so good and just well done. I can't wait for the next one coming. And then one from a very popular author that I think it is criminal how this book just did not hit the way that it should have. And that's Anastasia, y'all. I'm saying it. This book is good. Okay, I loved it. It is very long. The woman spent almost a whole year working on this book. The audio is available now for it if you want that. But I just think that it was so special. It's so well thought out. I really want to do a reread of this and like annotate it. I love all of the images. This was the first like fully illustrated one that Lena did. And I just love it. I think it's so special. I want a full colored volume of this so bad. Why don't you read Mariana Zapata? Oh my gosh. Every time I say that somewhere, people are just flabbergasted that I won't read her. So it's at this point too, like I have dug my heels in and I'm just never going to read her books, but I'll tell you why. It's not like the end of the world or anything. It's just, I know she writes very long, drawn out stories. I know a lot of people love her. Absolutely do. I know that she doesn't have like any spice in her books. And if there is, it's at the end. I don't care if that makes me seem like a horny bitch. If I'm reading 700 to 800 pages and there's a kiss in the last chapter and that's it, I'm going to be upset. Okay, I just am. All right. Also, even my friends who love her, and I have some close friends who like a lot of her books, they think that I would be frustrated or bored with her books. So I'm not saying never. I'm not saying never ever. I may get one of her audiobooks sometime. But if I do, I won't tell anyone that I did until I've read it. And if I liked it, maybe. But I'm just not that interested. I'm just not. And at this point, I'm like, I have a million billion other books to read. And so, yeah, I know I brought that up because Love Unwritten, I said, I feel like this is Mariana Zapata, because that one had a 80% slow burn. Like, it was at 80% before there was anything. And I was like, man, I feel this was a Mariana Zapata. I've never read her. I probably won't. But again, lots of people love her, and I have no shade to throw. I'm just not interested in that, really. But maybe someday. Like I said, maybe someday. I won't say never, but I'm not interested. So I had 2 questions here. I said, would you consider working for another author part-time? Do you think you'll work for an author as an assistant in the future? So this was in the beginning of 2023. I worked for a few months for Maggie Cole. I've shared that. She ended up changing things up and needing to cut back on some of her expenses for things. And so I was only doing some like partial things for her. So it was time for her to kind of let me go. There have been opportunities a couple other times that didn't like work out with some people. So I'm absolutely open to it. Absolutely. If you're an author who's watching this, hey, hi. I haven't, I just have the experience of what I do for myself, the graphics that I make for me, my, connections that I have. That's what I have. I'm not going to do any courses that may or may not make me better at certain things. I'm just me. I'm absolutely willing to do it. I would, of course, hands down love to be an assistant at a book convention or help with that, because, and not just because, ooh, it's fun to get a free trip somewhere. Of course it is. Of course it's fun. I'm not saying it's not, but I've been to a few signings now, and for the most part, they're just very overwhelming events for me. I don't know that in the future I'll go to any book signings as a participant anymore, unless there is another one like Book Bash where it's close to driving to me. But I would absolutely help an author at one of those. I am obviously, like I said, I'm very personable. Hey, I'm good with lots of people, meeting lots of groups of people, and I'm very organized. So those are the things that I offer. But what I did previously is I did run an Instagram account and helped with a Facebook account. I ran giveaways. I did the some certain interactions. The author still did all of the talking with fans, but I did some of the certain interactions with people. And it was great. I mean, it was great. It was easily fit in with what I already do every day, and it was good. So I'm absolutely willing to do it. Feel free to contact me by my business email if you're interested. But yeah, I absolutely would. What is your most requested book to be annotated? So I had to think about this for a hot minute. It usually goes in waves, right? But obviously a lot of my 6-star reads are the ones people have requested the most. I didn't grab all of them, but I'll just tell you right now. I mean, The Takeover, I believe I've done at least 10 times between patrons who've asked for it and people who have paid for a separate annotated book. Because you guys know I open those up like once a month for some extras for people to buy a la carte a video, or I mean a book. Ugh, I can't talk. Also, Wolf Gone Wild, I have done a ton of those, and Heartless, I've done a lot of those. So, again, you can tell a lot of my 6-star books get picked for that. All right, almost done here. What do you do when you're having a bad day to feel better? I'll call my sister. I'll talk to my friends. I'll go to my favorite coffee shop and have my favorite coffee and just listen to a book and leave all the work part at home and just read for joy. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I mean, books are what I do when I'm having a bad day. I just might put aside ones that I'm reading for work and pick up one that's just for me. And I'll do that for joy, for sure. What's your favorite superhero? Iron Man forever, always. I'm a Tony Stark girl to my dying day. Or Batman. Some days I want some Bruce Wayne. Do you watch BookTube? Not really. I know. You'll hear this from a lot of creators who've been in it for a long time. It's not because I'm really worried about stuff like infiltrating me. It's just I know what my own personal opinions are about some books sometimes, and I don't necessarily care what other people's opinions are anymore because I don't really need convincing to read any books. And a lot of times I end up being sad because my favorite books aren't other people's favorite books, and then I just end up feeling like sad that they don't like the same things as me. But I do try to watch a lot of my friends' videos, at least to like them and like say hi or whatever. And I do watch every video that Crystal makes and Jessin makes. And there are a few of my I know a lot of my followers also have YouTube channels. I try to pop into those now and then. So yeah, but in general for like BookTube as a whole, or people who are more like my peers or whatever, I don't really watch a lot of their videos, just because I watch true crime. I already said that I'm usually watching true crime while I'm doing stuff. Okay, the final question, and this is a great one to wrap it out on, is rank the Bridgerton books from your least favorite to your favorite. So I went and grabbed my books off the shelf. I do have all the hardcovers. So let's go through these. All right, let's go through these. Number 8, my least favorite, and the one that I have the most strong feelings about where it sits. Okay. The middle ones, I like them. The top 3 switch around depending on the day. But the one I'm absolutely positive that I do not care for and do not like, and upon reread, I actually cried angry tears, I was so mad, was An Offer from a Gentleman. Yeah, Book Benedict, there you go, Book Benedict is a whiny, entitled bitch boy, and I hate him. So this is my least favorite book. I love Sophie, precious Sophie. I love her so much. I hate Benedict. I hate him. I hate him. So that's the one I feel the most strongly about, is at the bottom. Now the next few here, as I said, I don't dislike any of these ones. I really don't. That's the only one that I strongly dislike. So then kind of going through it, there would be It's in His Kiss. I don't feel like the romance in this one is as romancy as I wish that it was, but it is a very fun time. I do love Gareth and Hyacinth. I love how Lady Danbury is involved in this one. It's so fun. Yeah, but it's just okay for me. It's not one that I would reach for right away, right? Then we have On the Way to the Wedding, another one. This one has some fun hijinks. It's exciting in a lot of aspects. But Gregory is just kind of milquetoast for me. And I know a lot of the fun is supposed to be the wishy-washy back and forth, but like it kind of drives me nuts that like he likes her friend and then her friend likes someone else and then she likes him. Like it's just too much for me. But again, don't dislike it. I love it. And this one is above It's in His Kiss, also just because we get to see where everyone's at in this. And I love that, you know, with Gregory being the baby. Love it. Then we have To Sir Philip with Love. Here's the back of this one. Again, don't dislike this strongly in any way. Eloise is fine. I love that she's taking on the kids and that she can deal with them in a lot of ways. Don't dislike this at all. It's just fine. All right, then we have The Duke and I. Of course, look at my beautiful back of this one. Love it. The day that I found this in a bookstore for $1 was a very, very good day to have Daphne and Simon on the back. Love it. Now, this one used to be higher on my list. It's just, there are other ones I love more than it now. That's why this is just the middle of the pack, but I still respect it. This was the very first Julia Quinn I ever read, so it still has a very sweet spot in my heart. It always will. So yeah, that's why it's a bit above some of the other ones, but still just middle of the road for me these days. Okay, now I said I have these 3, and again, I changed between which one's the favorite. And now when you see these ones, you might see why I have no interest in continuing watching Bridgerton. I don't want to go into the whole thing right now, but if you watch my review of season 2, which exists, you might understand why I was so pissy about some things. And from what I've heard about season 3, they have not rectified any of the things that bothered me. But anyway, my number 3 spot is Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Again, this one was my favorite for a long time. Then like it's kind of in the middle now, but I love Pollen. I do love them, and it's part of the reason why I was really excited for season 3, but when I saw a certain thing, I just wasn't excited anymore. But I have this in 3rd place. Now, again, super difficult to choose between these two, you know, super difficult. But currently, how I'm feeling like in my current reads of these is When He Was Wicked. Yes. This book is so good. It makes me cry. It hurts my insides. It's so beautiful. I love this couple so much. So again, you can maybe understand why I was a little pissed off about some things I heard about season 3. I think John and Francesca have a beautiful love that is deep, and she loses her soulmate, and it's absolutely tragic. And Michael is such a, like, how he feels like he can never have what his heart's desires because he'd be betraying the man that he saw as a brother. Like, it's so good. The angst in this is wonderful. So what I have as currently my favorite Bridgerton book, and also a reason why season 2 pissed me off so badly, is because The Viscount Who Loved Me is currently my favorite Bridgerton. I love Kate. I love how much she loves her little sister. I love the length she's willing to go to. I love how she's not going to let even this Viscount, who's wealthy and all that he is, get in the way of her sister having happiness. And I love their banter. I love how they butt heads, and I love how they fall in love. And I even love how Anthony is sure that he's going to die, so he absolutely can't fall in love with his wife because it would just be tragic. But I love these two, and I do have the couple picture for them as well. So there you go. That is my quick little ranking of Bridgerton. And no, I won't be watching season 3. I won't be watching anymore. I was undecided after season 2, but even for me, even seeing the previews, I wasn't excited with what I was seeing, because where Penelope and Colin ended season 2, I didn't care for either of them. And there's some characters that I really love in their books, and I didn't care for them. So that's my word on that. I've had people asking, and I've been telling them no, and I'll tell you again now, I don't plan to watch it. I'm not going to do it. I have heard all I needed to hear, and whether or not people say, well, you need to see with your own eyes, I don't want to. And I don't have to. And I don't like hating on stuff. That's why if you watch my review of season 2, I was planning to do an episode by episode breakdown like I did before. But I was so frustrated with what I saw that I was like, I'm not going to continue these because I'm just going to be yelling at my phone, and I don't enjoy being angry about anything. My channel is about positivity. So if there's something I can't be positive about, I usually either DNF it or I get out of there. And that's what I'm choosing to do. So thank you to everyone who sent me a question. Thank you if you've stuck around to the end. You guys are amazing. Thank you for helping me do what I love to do. And I hope that you are having a wonderful 4th of July weekend if you're in America, holiday, or just a great summer wherever you are. Have a great day, my friends. Bye-bye.